A franchise that has been going strong for over a decade, breaking records with every release, and has created a loyal fan base of millions of people across the world. Yep, that is the Marvel Cinematic Universe for you. A lot of fan-favorite characters have been introduced in around 33 films and a bunch of TV series that were released after Iron Man in 2008. This massive franchise has established itself as an example of how to connect dozens of parallel storylines with hundreds of coexisting characters. The speculation is that Marvel is aiming for a soft reboot after the release of their 5th Avengers movie in May 2027 titled Avengers Secret Wars. The multiverse saga has already started to shape its way for a possible reboot which will bring the characters currently present into their climax and form a single universe in the next phase of the reboot. MCU Reboot Theory explored. As this almost 2-decade-long multiverse saga is nearing its end, Marvel started introducing the elements of a possible reboot. The recent movies and shows like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and Loki Season 2 had hinted at the elements of this possibility. After the exit of the most loved characters like Iron Man, Steve Rogers, Black Widow, and T'Challa, some fans were sad, but some were satisfied with the closure of the characters. However, a lot of characters of the new generation were also introduced after the 4th Avengers film, Avengers Endgame. In the past year, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has, to put it mildly, faltered in its storytelling. The fans and critics showed their disappointment alike, which was visible in both the ratings and box office numbers. Be it She-Hulk, Secret Invasion, or The Marvels, most have suffered the wrath of critics and disappointed fans. Of course, I say this with exceptions such as the Loki series, Spider-Man No Way Home, and What If series. Marvel admitted that the reason for this downfall might be the fact that they started focusing more on quantity than quality. They have a bunch of movies and shows lined up till 2027 from where the soft reboot is expected to begin. So now, to the big question. What can happen in the reboot? Marvel Comics have a diverse range of characters and storylines that have still not been introduced in the cinematic universe. The creators are hoping to tap into the unexplored part of the comics and introduce them to the movies. This could mean that some of the existing characters and storylines will be entirely scratched off and new ones will be explored in their place. However, some characters that have retired or are dead in the current version might be reintroduced in their new versions. The multiverse will merge, and Avengers, X-Men, and the Fantastic Four might coexist in the same universe. If the comics are to be followed, Miles Morales from the Spider-Verse film series will also join the mainstream Earth 616. What a cool surprise for all Marvel fans. Earlier, the X-Men belonged to Fox, and Sony had its series of Spider-Man movies, but restarting the franchise could mean a lot of possibilities for bringing all the Marvel characters into one universe, coexisting and collaborating with their peers. Will a reboot ruin the MCU? A reboot could only destroy the continuity of the existing Marvel Cinematic Universe's storylines. The almost 16-year-old long journey had connected hundreds of characters in their worlds, eventually introducing the multiverse with more connections and characters. Some characters and storylines will be erased, so if they are rebooting the MCU, most of the things will start afresh, introducing new characters, new storylines, new versions of old characters, and a new start overall. This could also mean that the existing unexplained plot holes will also vanish with a snap. However, this opportunity brings in a new set of creative possibilities to explore for the makers. The existing MCU will change for the fans as they know it and have grown up with over the years, maintaining the continuity for almost 2 decades, along with maintaining a loyal fan base and breaking records worldwide, is a huge feat in itself that other big franchises have failed to achieve. What can we expect from this reboot? Along with bringing in a lot of possibilities for the introduction of new characters and storylines, the reboot is also aiming to bring back the most loved characters in the MCU. A lot of recasting will be seen, which will be a huge task for the Marvel team and the new actors, since they will be filling in the shoes of the widely loved actors who graced those roles for over a decade. Apart from this, comic fans are also hoping for their favorite characters in the comics to finally get an on-screen debut. Endless opportunities to explore for the makers, and they may make decisions wisely. It is indeed a huge responsibility to consider the demands of the fans worldwide who have been following the Marvel Cinematic Universe for most of their lives. Avengers Secret Wars, releasing in 2027, might be a good opportunity for a restart. This will create an opportunity for the long and complex timeline to come to an end so that a fresh and less complicated timeline can enter. A lot of franchises tried to reboot, but they could not achieve what Marvel Cinematic Universe did. The Harry Potter world tried expanding but could not keep up for as long as the MCU. The same was the case with the Transformers in the DC extended version. DC has tried to expand but it fails to keep up and feels the need to restart by recasting or showing the new versions of characters every single time. Starting from a fresh slate to control the spin-offs, multiverses and variants will be a wise decision and easy for everyone to keep up with the timelines. Also, if the makers are following the comic arc, a reboot would make perfect sense after Secret Wars. In the comics, the Secret Wars stated the destruction of the multiverse and the introduction of new stories from scratch. The MCU multiverse makes it easier for them to choose what remains and who to let go of. The DC Extended Universe attempted something similar in its comics with Crisis on Infinite Earths. Marvel's verdict. Reboots are a part of all franchises. Every decade or two, all major franchises have to go through a reboot. The responsibility is always massive to bring in new characters with new storylines, but also to maintain the same essence or make it better so as to not disappoint the existing loyal fans. Some franchises cannot keep up with maintaining continuity for long with their reboots and they fail. Marvel Cinematic Universe is the only franchise that has the longest continuity in their franchise, and now it is almost time for them to break it. This franchise has now become so big that despite its success, it is a necessity to start with a new perspective and fresh stories. Phase 3 of the MCU started with a big sacrifice from Iron Man, Black Widow, and Steve Rogers' Captain America, so it is expected that a reboot might also require one such sacrifice. According to the MCU creator Kevin Feige, the creators have barely scratched the surface, and there is still a lot to be discovered and brought on screen from Marvel Comics. They will be pruning everything that is not working and keeping what has worked well, along with bringing back the characters that we thought were gone forever. But you never know what's next with Marvel. With more and more timelines and more fourth wall breaks, we will also get a fitting and satisfying end to the characters of this phase. The new viewers who find the MCU too overwhelming with its extensive interconnected backstories might love the idea of a reboot. This reboot can go in many directions. Either it won't be able to live up to the expectations of the old fans, or it gathers new fans, or it makes everyone happy, thus increasing its fan following. It will be very exciting to see what is in the future of the MCU and if it lives up to the expectations or not, but on the other hand, it will also leave the older fans nostalgic and sad, seeing their beloved characters and actors leave their well-known on-screen avatars after years of being that superhero for us. Similar to what is happening with the DCEU reboot under James Gunn, where fans are sad to see Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, and many other actors leave their iconic roles. But the only way to bring back the glory of the MCU is to break it apart and rebuild it again from scratch.